Star quality. I got it. I got this. You got it. You got it. My chart says so. Look at me go. Sun, moon, rising. It's all about time. It's all about time. Earthlings. What's it all mean? What's it all mean? Star quality.
What's it all mean? What's it all mean? Mean.
Star quality. Woo. No, dude, really, what does it all mean? I got it. You got it. We got it. Star quality. Star quality. Welcome to Star Quality, everybody. I'm your host, astrologer Stevie Goldstein, and we are in eclipse season. It's here. It's begun. We've been in it. Legend has it that we can feel the eclipse energy as far as 2 weeks before an eclipse even happens. So the end of August, early September might have already been stirring up for some of us, but this is the first actual eclipse of this eclipse season. So we're going to dive into the chart of this eclipse, what messages are coming through the different planetary alignments, and just talk all things eclipses. If you are new here, welcome. Star Quality is a newsletter and podcast that I host on Substack, but you can listen to podcasts and all that wherever you get your podcasts. Podcasts? How many times can I say podcasts? And just to kind of get into it up top, this is a user supported platform. So if you would like to upgrade your subscription and join the third space, which is the paid subscriber tier of Star Quality, you'll get all the unlocked episodes, horoscopes, bonus content, anywhere where there's paywall, you get access to the chat. Also, anyone can start, well, anyone who's a third space member or a paid subscriber can start a chat. Back in the day when Substack first had this, it had to be like me to start a thread, but now you can. So if you want to ask questions to the group or propose a topic of conversation or just talk about like things happening in the news, media, pop culture, that is a space to do that. So come over to my chat room. It's really fun. And yeah, I don't know. I'm feeling good today. I'm feeling good in these eclipses. I don't know. I am like knocking on my desk, my wooden desk right now, but I don't even feel that superstitiously about it. I've had a few people, ask me about like, is this good? Is this bad? What's happening? And, I don't want to sound like I'm living a life of ignorance or anything, but yes, the circumstances of world continue to suck. I don't think that's changing immediately anytime soon. I think the bottom has not been reached, unfortunately. So, I focus my astro forecast a lot on just sort of what regular people can do. Of course, I tie in, politics or pop culture, or, when it feels right and fitting. But I just know from working with you guys, from working with clients, from sitting down one on one in readings, like, I don't know, we also have to live life and try to navigate life as best as we can and try to work with the weather of the astrological moment. So that's not any excuse to like not do civic duties and help people and all that, but also to, accept the wins and accept when things in life are also good. Because I will say, and maybe I'll get into it more in the next eclipse episode, because this is our first eclipse. This is happening on September 7th. Then we're going to have a second one on September 21st. So this one is the full moon Pisces eclipse in Pisces. So the sun is in Virgo because it's still Virgo season. And then we're having the Pisces full moon because it's always the opposite sign, full moon lunation. And then come September 21st, we're going to have the Virgo solar eclipse new moon. Now, we had a Virgo new moon earlier at 0 degrees, and I'll put that. It was not an eclipse just from a technicality, but I still think it's probably playing a part in this story or is worth looking at. So I'll put all the links to everything. Um, and then, yeah, and then that one's going to be at 29 degrees. So we're really covering the full axis of Virgo and Pisces all in one place. I also put in the show notes links to the last eclipse episodes from earlier this year and last year. So when we had the first Pisces full moon lunar eclipse back in September 17th, 2024. And then also earlier this year when we had our first Virgo full moon lunar eclipse in Virgo. So this is officially the third eclipse in the Virgo Pisces axis. And then we'll have our fourth one shortly in a couple of weeks. So we are truly in it. And the time between eclipses is a time of really heightened activity. Of course, in the news and in media, we see eclipses tied to themes of, societal shifts and power. Chris Brennan on the astrology podcast had a really great episode about like prominent people born during eclipses and, like a lot of royal family members. And then, of course, during eclipse moments that things might happen that people born during an eclipse might see a lot of things happen and change during eclipse time. Our uh, technical president, I guess it's like always hard to acknowledge that is real. It was also born during an eclipse. So, hey, let's see how these eclipses pan out for him. But, eclipses are a time of immense energy, just of chapters starting, chapters closing. But, again, I like maybe this is where I'm being a smidge superstitious. I'll wait until like some more things play out. But my God, just in these last few weeks alone, myself, my partner, friends around me, and maybe everyone's bracing for me to say something bad, have just been getting all these random golden opportunities, just have been like all of a sudden just like boop, 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 boop. And look, and I know plenty of people also like getting laid off and having a lot of uncertainty or people that have just been in uncertainty. But man, I'm just from my own personal, I try to not make my astro readings, be it in a one-on-one client reading or here doing a more collective reading, too much about like me, but also I'm your guide. So our personal instances I think are helpful because we're learning astrology from each other. So that being said, please sound off in the comments and let me know if like what's been happening for you, if you're feeling like positive eclipse energy or the opposite. I hope not. I hope not. But that's life. That's ebbs and flows of life. But eclipses really can be this like supercharge. Like if you're going on the video game, it's that little speed blast, like just like Mario Kart, Mario Party, like we like all of a sudden things are happening. Back when I launched What's Your Sign in 2018, when we all launched that was during an eclipse. And thinking back to that, I guarantee if we had consulted an astrologer at the time, they probably would have said, don't launch during an eclipse. But everything accelerated. Everything went really fast. Like the success was speedy. So, you know, I I feel like I change my thoughts on eclipses all the time. And this is a time that we talk about like not manifesting, not working, not trying to work too directly with the powers that be. And I still agree with that. I think eclipses are a nice time period to sort of like give it up to God, give it up to the universe, whatever you want to call it, and see what stays and notice what doesn't. I saw a friend, astrologer Lauren Ash, post like, during eclipse season, like don't water things and see what is still, uh, she had an eloquent way that she wrote it, like don't water those plants and see what is still thriving. Like that just doesn't just depend on your, pure brute force or constant attention. And I think that's what eclipses are really great for highlighting is getting to the truth really quickly, getting to, for better or worse, getting to some results really quickly, again, for better or worse. And, again, I'm in my nodal return. I'm still quite a ways away from it being direct or not direct, but like, yeah, I guess like an exact return. I'm at 2 degrees Pisces North Node and Virgo South Node. So it's just cooking because the nodes travel backwards, so the next time we have a new eclipse series, it's going to be in Leo and Aquarius. And then Cancer and Capricorn. It goes counterclockwise versus clockwise in terms of the zodiac chart. So it goes backwards. Which is also symbolically very interesting. I wonder what like I mean, it's probably just literally just because of the movement of the sky. And I don't think it has like, oh, like we're sitting up in this historical context. But yeah, so I've been chilling. I've been enjoying the eclipse. I'm about to go see Oasis. Like I I've been digging the energy thus far. But again, I'm in my nodal return. I'm feeling aligned. If you're in your nodal reversal, this might have been maybe is feeling a little more disruptive or like awakening or whatever it is. But I think the theme, and I'll get into the stats and everything of this chart. So, what I'm going to do too, because I always have a free section of content, if you want to call it that, we'll call it that, is I'll have the free chunk of this episode in the beginning where we'll go over the aspects to the luminaries, so the sun and moon. So we'll talk about that in the chart. And then I'll dig after the paywall, I'll dig into the other planets and the aspects they're making and paint the full picture of this eclipse story. So I do think that this time period, especially this lunation, but this eclipses in general, feels very much like it doesn't have to make sense on paper. Like there's a lot of things that don't need to be overthought or like overstressed, overanalyzed, the Virgo South Node things that we're releasing. Or even if you need to do things that maybe feel like a step backwards, knowing that you're not getting off track. I think even like with sobriety, right? Like, I'm not encouraging relapsing or anything, but sometimes, it doesn't mean you then don't ever get sober again, right? Like you're just trying your best and doing what you can in with the circumstances that you have. And so for a lot of people right now, they are thinking of like what changes do have to be made in order to thrive, in order to just feel good, and in order to, pay for life and do all these things. So this time period, if opportunities are coming up, as long as it's feeling right in the soul, you got to go for it. And you don't need to like it's not that deep. Like a lot of things aren't that complicated. Some things just need to happen for you to feel safe. And back to the Pisces energy of it all, because this is a Pisces full moon. So we are releasing, but there's the North Node there. So there is this like beckon to embrace. So in this is all about being able to be emotionally vulnerable, to be able to share what you want to share. And this is a good reminder, too, that during this time, the people that are coming into your life, the opportunities, the jobs, like the things that you're into, the signs and signals, and maybe you can't stop listening to some certain type of music, and now you want to make a project about it or do whatever. All those things that are coming up, just take note, because I think that this means that a lot of these things that come up during this time might stick around a lot longer than you think they will. Um, so these chance opportunities or, serendipitous sort of things are actually just on time and where they need to be. Oh my gosh, I'll talk about a next eclipse episode because again, it feels just too early. But I had I'm telling you, three major life accelerations in the last week. And they're just all I could do was like open my hands and go, this is the eclipses, and this positively, like, it was like, oh, why? All right, like this can be good stuff. This can be things. I hate to be so teasy and like not talk about what I'm talking about, but some things are sensitive and I will talk about them. But just know that they're good. So your girl's happy. And yeah, even like my husband during one of these things, he was like, wait, is this like what you're talking about? And it's like, yeah. And it's really fun for someone that's not as tapped in to the astro to be like, this is the timing, this is the thing. So I knew you would hear from that person at this time, because this is when you're going to hear from those people at that time, those things that just keep waiting for an update. Even if the update is maybe that things aren't going through, at least you're going to like know and have like the freedom then to like make decisions from there moving forward. So I'm going to pull up the chart for this full moon, this total lunar eclipse in Pisces. So I am on video, but if you are just listening to audio, all good. There is a video component if you want to look. And I will put the image of the chart also in the show notes. And the time zone is set for where I'm based in Los Angeles. So it's on Pacific time. So adjust for your time zone. That's just going to adjust the rising sign of the chart, but it's not really like important for this, but it's could be interesting if you want to look what the vibe is for your city. Like for me in LA, it's a Scorpio rising chart for this lunar eclipse. So let me pull up this eclipse chart. Okay, let's look at this chart. Uh, Not a sponsored ad, but I'm using Luna Cloud software and it's really affordable. So if you are like, what is this? In terms of pulling up the chart, this is what I use and this is what I store all my client stuff in. And also a good reminder too, if you would like to book a one-on-one reading, my calendar for September has been updated. I have very limited avails in September. Just how the cookie crumbles. So if you see a spot, grab it because that might be um one of the few that are available in September because it's just a busy time for your girl. But again, lots of good stuff. I'll share all about it when I can share more things. Okay, so this full moon lunar eclipse in Pisces is happening on September 7th, 2025 at 11:09 a.m. In Los Angeles Pacific time. Adjust for your time zone. And so we're in this first chunk, we're going to look at the lunation. So in the luminaries, I should say. So the sun and the moon and what aspects are being made to the sun and moon. So we'll get into it. A big player in this sun and moon story is Jupiter, which we love. We love to see. I like love this eclipse chart. I There's like only one thing that's kind of tough, which is Mars and Jupiter in a square. I'll highlight that here. And then in this sort of yeah, it's not T squaring, but in the opposition to Chiron. But this Jupiter Mars square is like the toughest part, but we'll get into it and what that symbolically means in terms of processing the energy of this eclipse. But before we'll do that after the paywall. For now, we're gonna look at what's happening with the sun and moon, what aspects are being made, and maybe because it's the eclipse, it's a good time to go very 101. What are aspects? Aspects show us how far away in the sky the planets are from each other. And so that gives us the geometric angles, which makes the aspects. So the more you know. So we have a sextile here happening between, let's see. So it's not with Mercury, just making sure. Okay. We have this sextile with, I mean, it's very close in the conversation, so worth bringing up. But we have the sun here with the south node because it's this eclipse chart. The nodes also too are these are the lunar nodes. So these aren't actual objects in the sky. These are mathematical points where the sun and moon's paths cross, and it makes this optical illusion in the ecliptic, which is where we have the eclipses. So not a thing, but a point in the sky that indicates where we're going to see really big updates and shifts in the themes of whatever sign it is in that moment. So the sun is here with Mercury and the south node. This is, and Mercury's home in Virgo. It likes to be in Virgo. And this is a real indicator that these shifts are going to have an element too with our how we're thinking, how we're processing, how we're expressing ourselves is undergoing some changes. This with Virgo and the South Node energy, that's, I've been talking about this for a while. Like the same old Virgo tricks might not be hitting like they used to. And that's maybe going to include some of the mercurial energy around that as well. And what's encouraged is Jupiter, and we'll get into Jupiter's encouragement to both the sun and moon in this convo. What's encouraged too is that change that Jupiter is saying, like, it's okay to change your mind. It's giving like running things by the group, not in like, we'll get into it with Mars and Libra because there's like a lot of group energy that's both positive and negative. But this feels very much like a vulnerability hour with the people that's closest to you. Maybe there's something you need to get off your chest. Maybe there is some plan in life that you're feeling not 100% sure on. And instead of thinking, oh my God, everyone I know is going to judge me, knowing that that's not what friends or family should do, right? Like make you feel like shit when you're in a time where you are wondering where you want to put your energy in. Because no matter where this eclipse is happening, we are considering the shifts in that realm of life. So if you're, um, if depending on what Pisces and Virgo is in your chart, and we can look at that in a chart reading and talk about what that might be, symbolized for this eclipse. For me, it's my ninth and third house. God, there's been a lot of themes around there. It's like, past beliefs, current beliefs, home versus maybe seeing new sights and going elsewhere. How I express my voice and my magic and teachings and guide and all that sort of stuff. So it's and then it's also a return. So it's like a very extra potent. But on this other flip, and why I really am into this this chart is, because the sun and moon are always going to be in opposition during a full moon. That's what makes it a full moon. The nodes being here, obscuring the view is making that an eclipse. But I also love that Jupiter is not only sending love to the Virgo stuff, but Jupiter, our planet of good fortune, of joy, of generosity, is also trining the moon in Pisces, this very squishy feeling, artistic, creative moon placement with the North Node, our destiny and our purpose and where we're heading and why we're doing what we do, our North Star. Like this week, that's why I'm saying like this energy has been so like you will be caught. The things that are here to help you are gonna come through. Miracles do happen. Trust the process. And, especially when those things work out, then you look back, hello, Virgo, at all those times you were worrying, going, why the fuck did I just waste all that time worrying? Why did I waste all that time worrying? I had to hear that slow down. I had to hear that for myself. Why, or now maybe you have, things are starting to feel like there's movement and happening. It's like, oh man, I actually had time. Oh man, there is actually space to do the things I wanted to. Like our perspective of time and what is available is getting clarified, redetermined, emphasized. And so, too, Pisces traditionally is also a Jupiter sign. So there's just like a lot of good Jupiter juice in the sky all at the same time. So the Virgo ness, right, is a real like you don't have to do the of service Virgo things, right? Keep it to yourself, keep it for yourself. And that this moon, like following that stuff that doesn't make sense on paper, back to that following the moon stuff of just this feels good. I don't care what people think. I don't care if people, think this is a step backwards or a weird thing or like maybe you've been working in healthcare and all of a sudden you're like, actually, I like not encouraging this because I know we need fucking doctors and nurses, even though I know also in American healthcare that it's sucks so hard right now. But example, keep going with the example, Stevie. First time I think I've ever spoken third person, but hey, eclipses, first time for everything. But also this, oh, I've been working in healthcare. I really just like want to like work in food service. Like I want to be around people and to like, yeah, but, it's still connected to caring for others, right? Or like, again, insert your example. But I think it comes back to just that, like very just knee jerk. If you could do anything tomorrow, what would that look like? And, for some people, there can be that, like, I actually don't want to do as much. Like, I actually do all this stuff, the stuff that Virgo, when I was in my Virgo mood, signed me up for. And now I'm in my Pisces mood. And I'm like, no, I want to be in more flow. That's funny. Like, I'm just thinking to myself, like, I just had that with a friend where we were gonna like do a photo shoot at like 7:30 in the morning. And then we are like, why would we do that? no offense, let's do a sunset one. Like let's do later in the day. Like let's enjoy our precious sleep, which also feels Pisces. Like going a little softer and easier and in more chance and opportunity. I can be, and this is my Virgo South Node lesson. I can be such a stickler to a plan to a point of like, it's like chill. Um, my sweet friend Joe just had a birthday. I know Joe listens. What's up, Joe? Happy belated. Well, not belated. I saw you, but also happy birthday. And I was meeting Joe for his birthday, and there was like a few changes to the plan of meeting up. And I just, of course, I'm just like, okay, where are we going? Like sitting in the car, being like, where's to next? And then, it was really hot, and Joe mentioned, oh, we're gonna sit outside at this park. And I was like, oh, and sorry, Joe, this is the behind the scenes. So, but it's a cute story, I promise, at the end. But I was like, oh my God, now we're gonna sit outside at a park. I didn't bring anything. I'm this, I'm getting to my again, nothing was the matter, right? Like nothing. It's so easy to look for problems in life. And it doesn't mean we just have to accept and, accept shit. But this wasn't that moment at all. It was just like things are changing. Like they went to a restaurant, it was packed. Now we're going to do this. We're going to sit outside. Yes, it's hot. Oh my God. Then we get there. A beautiful park I've never, or I hadn't been to in years. I went with that friend for a music fest, but I never seen it in its like park form with this cute outdoor covered, shaded, sells margaritas bar and snacks and burgers. And I was just like, it's just that for me as a Virgo South Node moment, being like, oh, and I forget because Virgo's mutable Earth, so pivotable, so updating with the info, so they can go with the flow, but in that like kind of contained Virgo way, which was where the way I was thinking in the South Node, I was like, plan changes, got to do this. And then I'm like, oh wow, it was just introduced to somewhere new. I'm about to go there again because I was like, this is now on my radar. Like it's just back to that Jupiter sense of wonder and not things having to always just be clean and like we executed the plan perfectly. We went to a restaurant and celebrated birthday, then left, like getting out of like the world has enough robots. Send in the humans, send in the creatures with souls. And that's really what's being asked is just to be soulful. And again, I wasn't like over texting with my friend, like where are we going? That might have been like if I was in a snappier, bitchier pre-Saturn return mood, that may have been me back in the day. But I also am like, always a lesson that I'm learning and that I'm constantly being taught by Virgos and Pisces. Oh my God. And Saturn's back in Pisces. Like the attitudes have absolutely shifted. So, oh my God, I want to get into that, but I just want to make sure I cover that sun and moon transits because of the paywall it's going to be coming up. So I don't want to like forget anything, but just that there's a lot of flow in this chart. There's a lot of, I don't know, it's giving positive. It's giving embracing it all. It's giving like couldn't be bothered. And I'll get into that tough Mars aspect because I think that also just lends into the story again, especially with Libra Mars and other people and all that. And we're going to get into this Saturn back into Pisces, Saturn return. People with Saturn and Pisces, you are not done. Saturn and Aries, you got a sneak preview, but you're about to pick it back up very soon. Well, next year, but still you got the preview. So yeah, with this first portion, I am complete, but it's all very, I'm into it. I'm just like, it feels really simple, but maybe it's because it's back to the soul connection sort of thing. I feel very soul connected to this. I feel very like, even like when friends were asking me, oh, is this weekend going to be like good or bad? It's like, I'm, it feels so Pisces moon to be like, I'm like not into defining good and bad. I'm so like I feel I hope I'm not like eye rolling too hard when people ask me that because I'm like when I hear that again, it's like my previous Catholic school life. It's like, why must you be one or the other? Like we are all good and bad. We really are all good and bad. We have good sides, we have bad sides, and those bad sides are perfectly good, and those good sides are perfectly bad. And what we think is good can be bad, and what we think is bad could be good. So All right, now I'm just talking in riddles, which is also very this Pisces fucking energy. So, and what's the meme? Like, God knew I'd be too powerful if I made sense when I talked. So that's also the Mercury here too. Like Virgo Mercury is so sharp, so on the details, so this, but like we are here to like paint bigger pictures. We are here to go bigger in our thematic universes. Like, yes, we love strong character backstories if we're thinking of this like writing a book or writing a play or something, but we need to like build the universe, and that's Pisces. So we'll do detail stuff again, but right now, like build the bigger thematic world, build the brand story if we want to get into marketing, get the colors, pick the vibe, get the font, like zoom it further out if we've been too in. Okay. There's going to be more of this chart breakdown on the other side of the paywall. So if you want to hear more about what the other planets are doing and how they're impacting this eclipse, please join the third space. And yeah, for the price of buying me an iced latte with oat milk, you can support me in this platform. And the more people that sign up, the more stuff I can make because then I can dedicate more time, dedicate more research, um, and all of that. And if there's any things you want to see or get covered, yeah, sign up, email. I mean, actually, you don't have to be a paid subscriber. You can let me know. I would love to know what you would love more of. And also, if you can't, spend money, that's all good. There's also a free trial if you'd like to trial it out. But sharing this with friends, telling people about this, hearting things, commenting, like you're not annoying. It's so helpful. People find this then on Substack. It bumps me into the feed. There's charts on Substack now. I don't know if you noticed. It's like rising faith and spirituality. I was number 73 once for 30 minutes. I actually emailed them and asked them if it was an error, just so I wasn't bragging about a false stat. And they said no. They said sometimes this charts change rapidly. So I was in the top 100 faith and spirituality charts, number 73. Proud of it, babe. So I would love to chart again. I would love to rank. And so they have rankings for the most people with paid subscribers, and also like the ones that I think are just interacted with the most or get the most traction. I don't know how they scale their algo, but help me chart. I would appreciate it. And yeah, sign up. There's monthly. You can pay a flat fee for the year, which is cheaper. You could also become a founding member, which gets you a free 15-minute Zoom or FaceTime reading with me and discounts off of future readings. So if you're also a person that gets readings with me as a return client, that's a kind of steal and a deal because you're already going and getting your readings. Okay, enough shilling. Let's get into the remainder of this chart. Okay. What's up, third spacers? My three cuties. Now that they're gone, let's keep digging in, shall we? I really want to like just tell everybody everything that's been happening, but there's some things that are still unfolding, so I cannot. But yeah, hee 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 hee. Sometimes I always forget. I'm like, well, I don't always forget. I constantly am reminded I have Pluto in Scorpio in the fifth house. So a good reminder too about like Pluto and secrecy and all that is, um, you know, uh, you get to know what you get to know, and you get to not know what you get to not know. Anyways, I feel like I talked too much about this difficult aspect of Mars squaring Libra that I should get into that first things first. And it really is our only, do you see this? Like, I mean, obviously oppositions, whatevs, that is what it is. That's that sextile action with that minor grand trine that we talked about in the episode of taste testing this future summer. I hope you guys liked that. It was really fun to make that episode for you and that reflection. Venus standing on her own. Again, I'll come back to all these planets, but I'm just showing. Yeah, I mean, Mars is opposite Chiron, but like everything else is like, we good. We're flowing. Things are changing. We're evolving. And then Mars, so Mars is right, our drive, our passion. This can be conflict, this can be abrasion. It's squaring Jupiter. Jupiter, this generosity. It's in these very like Cancer can be about our family, Libra, of course, about our partner. Maybe there's a disagreement about future things for some of you. Maybe it's about getting married. Maybe it's about having kids. Maybe there's something, maybe it's about living by family or how that life looks for you, how you want to build your family or world. Times are changing. And I think, can be a conversation for a lot of people of like, oh, well, I want to live by my family, or like I don't, or, I need to pursue the things that make sense for me that bring me the most abundance. And maybe that's getting far away. I saw something in the United States that like most people like live less than 20 miles from their parents, which is interesting, which is, um, as someone that definitely needed to put thousands of miles between me and my family, and I come from just a lot of drama, a lot of, family members, a lot of people dealing with addiction, a lot of people dealing with literally narcissistic personality disorder, mood disorders, and, all the things. I needed physical space. So if you don't want to pop off in a Marsy sort of way, um, how much you give to the group, I think is also at play. Now, I know I talked about like the Virgo energy sort of being like a real kind of like a real come to Jesus moment about where there might be struggles or holdups. And it's with the safe people. That's the key difference. Like that's the conversation for the safe people that fill up the cup for you. This is like the non-cup fillers need to chill. Maybe don't get as much time or attention. How much attention you can even give to social things right now might also be just up for debate, or like maybe it's like not being able to see everybody, like not having the energy. Um, this Mars is sitting in opposition to that Chiron in Aries. So also knowing your own levels, knowing your own, it's like social battery check in, right? Like this is big back to school season, and we are in this September, oh fuck, I'm realizing a lot of shit time. So this is very like you can't do it all, and that is okay. This probably would apply in many life things. Like, when can we ever do it all? But right now, in particular, there's some things that like the paths are getting redefined, and like how we want to spend our time and where we're going and what we're doing is getting refocused. So that might be a cleansing of, distractions, whether that's in love or family or the otherwise. So, um, yeah, because Jupiter wants to give a lot, Mars wants to do the things. They're swearing and they're like, maybe we don't do that. Maybe I don't give you everything, because what have you given me? Where's the reciprocality, right? Like, I don't know. I have this conversation a lot with girlfriends about like partners and bad partners. And, unconditional love is for children, is my hot take. I think a partner, if we're talking romance, I think that's conditional. I think they need to show up and do the things that they say they're going to do. And can we have moments of struggles and where we're low and they're high and vice versa? Or, we're high, they're low, vice versa. Yes, absolutely. I'm not like a cold monster, but there does need to be reciprocal participation, knowing what balance in a Libra sense looks like for you, and that these things work for you. Coming back to that Aries Chiron. Um, it has been big breakup season this summer. I'll just say that. So if you are overdue and this is like, if your brain is going to that person you've been meaning to break up with, this is for you. Especially because let's go to Venus. Hello, Leo Venus. She's stunning. I mean, in this LA chart, it's at the tippy top of the chart, visible to all. She's out there. She's being seen. She's doing what she wants to do. She's very Samantha Jones. And this is unaspected. There's no other planets making any aspects to Venus. Venus is standing on her own 2 feet, doing her own thing in a very independent, creative, colorful sign that is Leo. So it's very like, who's dulling your shine? You know what I mean? I've seen it with my own 2 eyes with friends and family, where whether it's their partner or a group of friends, where you're like, you are not your shiniest. They are sucking the life out of you. And if you remember, I think it was the Leo Venus retrograde last in 2023. Um, Very much related to the, this is our, I believe, our first Venus and Leo time since then. And then also, then we had that Mars retrograde with Leo and Cancer. So, we're getting our groove back in the Cancer and Leo departments because we had Mars retrograde in Leo and Cancer. Now we have Jupiter in Cancer that is like being like, I know that was fucked up what happened in Cancer earlier this year, but we are we are moving past that. We are fixing that. We are solving that. Venus now in Leo, like we have like both these like really nice sun and moon benefics going on right now, back into who we are and what we feel and what we want to do. It's really cute. Again, this is why I like this chart right now. I feel like there's a many, I haven't looked ahead at the September 21st eclipse chart. I like to do things sometimes in real time, especially during the eclipses when like there's not much to do or work with. Like we are just sitting back and letting things unfold. Um, so yeah, that's really feeling really strong in the relationship, self-worth, self-confidence department is what do you need to feel hot in yourself? And like that you have agency in your life and that no one gets to tell you how to feel about something or whatever. And yeah, like it's amazing that we don't have to like be in shitty things if we don't want to. Like we have like we can leave things that make our skin look like shit. Like when it's like, oh my God, I'm seeing the physical result of the bullshit. Not to make it about only about vanity, but the Leo Venus thing, it's real. It's like the same thing with like think about it with cats. When cats are neglected, when you take a cat to the vet, like I currently have two fosters who are available for adoption. They're the sweetest. I've renamed them Solomon and Pierre. If you are in LA and looking for a pair of sweet, cuddly, cute, loafy boys, they are bonded brothers, and I would love to find them a great home. But for when you bring a cat into the vet, one of the first things they remark on is like how they look, like is their coat shiny? Are their eyes bright? Same if you went to the regular doctor as a human. It's like, are things dull, right? Like, is there sheen and vibrancy and alertness and brightness? And so if that has been missing, maybe it's been your sleep, maybe it's been just the partner draining life out of you, but this is the like, your hotness, and it doesn't have to be in a Eurocentric, typical, skinny, whatever sort of way. Just your hotness does measure how things are going inside a lot of the time. Okay, let's talk about Saturn because that's huge. Saturn just moved back into Pisces on September 1st. It is going to be in Pisces till February, I think, and January, February. I have the date somewhere, but it's back. It's finishing up its reign. Saturn is not in Aries for a minute. It is away from Neptune for the moment. And that's just, even though it's still here with Neptune and we're still in this minor grand trine. So Saturn and Neptune sextiling Pluto, sextiling Uranus, and then, of course, Uranus and Pluto in this trine that's going to go on forever and ever. So, again, the things that must die and reformulate and be born again, and not in a Christian way, and to go into a new state are all really active. But Saturn moving back into Pisces. So, we've got Saturn out of Aries, out of this sort of like Marsy, aggressive, yeah, jarring in many ways sign. And now it's back in a very soft, watery, sleepy, mosey, mosey position. And again, it didn't move far, but it did move signs. And that alone is a big energy shift. And so we are wrapping up things in the Saturn department and in the Pisces Saturn department that needed another look, and needed a finalization, a maturity, a leveling up. So, where in Pisces have you been slacking? Where maybe it's in a creative project that is really needing some attention. Maybe it's in your spiritual practice. If you're here listening to this, you're probably, I'm guessing, very into astrology. Have you been working with astrology? Have you been sitting? Of course, this is a place to do this, of course. But have you been spending your own time with the planets, looking at this, doing your own interpretations? I'm just one person giving some insights. You can have your own, and I would love to hear your theories and thoughts of like what that could mean um, for any of these positions, but also for Saturn too, having this actual interest and dedication into what inside, your spirit and soul needs. See, this is the thing with like Pisces and Neptune in the 12th house for me is they can be kind of hard to talk about because they are just about like vibes and about everything and nothing and, you know, liminalness and ethereality and things you can't always put your finger on. And so, Neptune's going to join back in Pisces later this year. I know I had it on that episode. I'm just blanking on the dates, but soon, then we'll have the whole, oh, it's October 22nd. So we have only a few more, like a month or so left with Neptune and Aries, and I'll join Saturn and Pisces. So we'll also feel that shift as well. But right now, there is like kind of a stepping away from Neptune, right? Like, hang on, I have some things I got to finish building and dreaming, and Neptune will join. And it's still in the conversation, but it's just a really big energy shift, focusing, giving Aries a little less attention that it's just gotten. Don't worry, it's going to get it again. And coming back to Pisces, being like, what in my fucking Pisces ass world do I need to actually sit down and do? Um, I'm like, should I get that into the outer planet triangle? I mean, I guess if you're new here, maybe I should, because it's just been constant, but it's still present and still part of this tale. But, Uranus is still in Gemini, but it's going to go back into Taurus in November. And so there is still adding to this kind of watery shift, getting back into like, what do we emotionally feel like is also maybe heading towards the end? Because again, Pisces will eventually get out of this zone, but there is it feels, yeah, like could be going back to some things or realizing that you can't go back to some things too. Like things have hit their end, then what do you do with them? But there is a lot of still encouragement for that Uranus Gemini change, especially a change in the way we're expressing ourselves, our ideas, connected around that, how we want to share that with other people. And also, Pluto being like, it is okay to make really big, impactful, permanent adjustments during this time. And I think this fall, since we're winding down from that taste test of the future time, is about where do we want to go and do things? I can say, for example, in my life, I was talking about like some financial goals with my husband and, oh, if we don't hit this financial goal, then I want to do this thing. And then I'm like, but if we do, I guess we'll just keep going with this. And then I was like, wait, what if we hit the financial goal and I still want the change? Like not having these things, realizing that some of these things might just not be one or the other. And for me, there's a lot I'm still like letting the month reveal and unfold and seeing in terms of work and career and money and home life and family and like just feeling, I'm in a first house year. I turned 36 in May. I'm feeling just I I finally am the age where it's not a bad thing. I just feel like there's some things I'm like I just don't connect to from early 30s and especially from my age in the 20s where I'm like, "Oh, I feel like I am in a new age era." I don't feel like old, but I just feel like, when you're like, I've done that. And it's like, I've already done it. And I'm so glad I did it. Like, whether it's I go out, sometimes in LA and I'll be like, I am too old for this bar. And that is okay. I'm glad all the kids are having fun. I hate that photo booths are $7 because that should not be in my world. If I was president, no, no, no. But I'm glad the kids are having fun. But like, I want to be in different spaces because that's what Saturn does. Saturn moves you through different eras and phases. And like, this is why it can be so frustrating for folks with Peter Pan syndrome who want to stay forever children or stuck in the past or stuck in a permanent loop. Maybe that could be it. Saturn changing the timelines, Rick, come to terms somewhat with our age or permanality or whatever, whatever it is. I mean, especially Pisces with age too, because it's the end of the zodiac. Aries is the baby. What things maybe we've done already and feel like the chapter is closed, and what things like maybe we still haven't even explored. Some of those things, some of the things in my mind that are relate to moving and stuff do feel very like a young dream. Like, oh, I never got to do that in my 20s, and I'd love to do this now. Um, but yeah, so those sorts of themes might also be coming up during this time. And again, if I made sense when I talked, I would just be too powerful. So if you know, you know. But I think that is the end of I think that's the end of this app. You know what I'll do? I will get my astrology dice and I'll do a little dice roll for us to close out. But yeah, enjoy this eclipse. I've been into it. I don't know. I'll fuck with it. So let me get my dice and we will have a roll, shall we? Okay. Okay, this also might be why I've been feeling really good is the other day I took my husband for an ear cleaning because he wanted that for his birthday. He has so many Virgo placements, so like it's funny that this was like a wanted birthday gift. So I took him to an ear cleaning kind of like far out from us in LA, and I love to check out local crystal shops, especially places I don't normally go to. And I went to this crystal shop called, wait, I have the name of it actually here. Aura's World in Whittier, California. I loved this shop. Everyone was so nice. While we were there, it was, and I believe it still is because it's like a 10-day festival. Ganesh, the like elephant god, like from Hinduism. Yeah, Ganesh. Ganesh's birthday. Um, it was Ganesh's birthday, so they were having like the multiple day celebration and manifestations. But that day we were there was the day of releasing obstacles by chance. So we got me and Pablo, my husband, wrote down our obstacles and put them in this bowl, and then they were doing a ritual ceremony with it once the birthday is over. So I also felt like I love when you get to like stumble into magic or a ritual with people that you were planning to do things with. And yeah, it was just really special and cute. So shout out to that shop. I thought it was really cute. If you're ever out in Whittier area, oh, Aura's World. Well, I'm gonna keep that dice roll because it fell out of my hands, and I'm gonna keep it. You can see my dice here. The other one's rolled already, so I'm just gonna keep it because I looked and I saw it and I was like, that's the roll. Um, yeah, Ganesh's birthday. I'm like, did that set off something? Because like that was a really unexpected magic ritual. Also, the guy and the gal who are working there, me and Pablo were their nodal reversal twins. I'm North Node Pisces, South Node Virgo. Pablo is North Node Aquarius, South Node Leo. And then the other people were the opposite. The guy was North Node Leo, South Node Aquarius. The girl was North Node Virgo, South Node Pisces. So we are like, whoa, we're all like reverse nodal twins. It's like, are we all here as like karmic messengers for each other? Um, I love being a woo lady out on the West Coast. I'm not gonna lie, because it's like I just heard myself saying this story and I'm like, LOL. Teenage me would like really love this. Okay. I'm gonna roll in the remaining two dice. Okay. We have Sagittarius, Moon. That's why I was like, when I saw it roll, I was like, we should talk about the moon. In the 10th house. Okay. Put it all together. And what do you got? Sag. Oh, wait, that looks like the number four. Oh, it's hard to hold these all at once. Sag, Moon, 10th house. So the Sag Moon, I always think of Sagittarius moons as people that must experience things for themselves. No offense to the Sag moon. Sometimes they can have a hard time relating unless they've done it themselves. Um, the Sages can get really stuck in the analysis paralysis. I'm always encouraging Sag people, but especially Sag moons because it's like their feeling healing center of their moon needs to just go out and explore and try things on for themselves. And I think in terms of the career and public visibility and authority of the 10th house, that this is actually really trying on that identity that you've maybe been scared to do. Maybe it is, if you're a baby astrologer, finally putting astrologer in your Instagram bio. Maybe if it's like you're an artist, it's like making the website and, selling things and putting them for sale. And if your goal is not to sell things, that's fine too. Maybe it's having a group show or like actually being, you know, stepping into that spotlight. maybe it's writing, your blog things or whatever it is. There is about letting yourself, even if you feel like I'm still so new and like not experienced, it's like we all just do it one day, like it all just starts one day. Like, how does this just thing happen? So there's like a real encouragement to step into your expertise, step into that position of power, and to, know that you're trying it on and it doesn't also have to be a permanent position. This is like mutable fire energy as well. Back to Jupiter of it all with Sagittarius, with all the Jupiter aspects of this chart. So, yeah, this is real big. I love this. This is like, you're ready, go do it. You might fumble a few times on your way to the top, and that is like so normal. So don't ever think back to again the overthinking, the like the addiction to perfection is released from you. I say it here, I declare it, so mote it be. Um, give it a go. Full stop, no holds bar. Don't hold yourself back. You can look dumb. Like actually the dumber the better that you look doing it. Okay, cool. Well, thank you so much for listening to Star Quality. I will see you in your readings. Let me know in the comments what you think about this eclipse and this episode and everything. If you have any questions, I'll see you in the chat room and I'll catch you next time. Bye, babies.